I hadn't planned on staying long. Just a quick stop to drop something off for her daughter. A borrowed book, nothing special. But then she opened the door, and time did what it always does around her. Slowed down, shifted, forgot itself. "Come in, it's freezing," she said, voice low and warm. The kind that lands softly but lingers. Her name was Claire, though saying it out loud felt too personal, like tasting something meant to be savored. The house smelled faintly of rosemary and rain, the kind of scent that feels like someone's memory. She moved through the kitchen with that quiet confidence some people are born with. Everything about her was deliberate. The way she pushed a strand of hair behind her ear, the way her eyes held contact just a second longer than necessary. She poured 2 glasses of wine, even though I hadn't asked. "You're not in a rush, are you?" I should have been. I wasn't. She handed me the glass, fingers brushing mine, just for a moment. But the contact jolted through me like static that didn't fade. Her nails were pale neat, the kind of hands that had written notes on napkins, that had learned what to keep and what to let go. "I haven't seen you since the graduation party," she said. "Yeah," I answered, taking a small sip, stalling. "You looked different then." She smiled without looking up. "Different how?" I didn't have the courage to explain that she hadn't looked real that night, that she'd looked untouchable, like a painting I wasn't meant to get close to. Now, here in the soft kitchen light, she was real. A little tired, maybe softer around the edges, but somehow that made her more magnetic. Her laugh was quiet, as if she didn't want the walls to hear. "You always think too long before you speak," she said. I remember that. I felt my throat tighten, not from embarrassment exactly, but from the strange way she saw right through me. Like she'd been watching me longer than I realized. Outside, rain had started again, faint, patient drops tapping against the window. She walked over and leaned a shoulder against the counter, glass in hand. Her sweater slipped slightly, showing the curve of her collarbone. Nothing deliberate, but I noticed. I could not notice. "So," she said after a beat, "you're driving back tonight?" "Yeah, probably should." Her gaze flicked to the window, then back to me. "It's a long drive in this weather." I nodded, unsure if I was agreeing or waiting for her to give me a reason not to go. She filled both glasses again. "You can stay until it eases up." The way she said it wasn't casual. There was weight under the offer. Not invitation, not warning, just something hovering between. We sat at her kitchen table. The only sound was the rain and the faint hum of the refrigerator. My jacket hung over the chair, my phone face down. At one point, our hands reached for the same bottle. Her fingers rested lightly over mine, not pulling away, not moving forward either. Just there, long enough to make breathing harder than it should have been. When I finally looked up, her eyes met mine, steady, unreadable. "Maybe," she said softly, "you shouldn't drive home tonight." The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was alive. And then a sound broke it. The faint creak of the front door. Her eyes shifted toward the hallway. Mine followed. Someone else was home. She set her glass down, voice barely above a whisper. "Don't say anything." The sound from the hallway turned out to be nothing, just whined against the doorframe. But the moment had already changed. Something had cracked open, and neither of us could pretend it hadn't. Claire exhaled slowly, then laughed under her breath. "False alarm," she said, but her voice was thinner now, too careful. I wanted to say something easy to fill the air, a joke, a distraction, but words felt like the wrong language. The room still carried her warning, the unfinished echo of "don't say anything." We drifted back to the table. The wine had gone warm. She poured another splash anyway, more out of habit than thirst. "Your mom ever mentioned me lately?" she asked. Eyes on the bottle. "Sometimes," I said. "Usually when she talks about people who got out." "Said you moved here to start over." Claire smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's one way to put it." She looked around her own kitchen as if seeing it through someone else's lens. The clean counters, the stack of unopened mail, the quiet that felt too practiced. "I used to think starting over meant something new," she said. "Turns out it mostly means being alone somewhere different." The confession landed between us like a dropped pin. I hadn't expected her to be this honest. Not with me. I didn't know what to do with it except sit there, feeling something that wasn't quite pity, and wasn't quite desire but tangled close enough to both. I'm not great at new starts either, I said. College didn't really stick. I came home. My mom pretends it's temporary. She looked up. It's hard coming back. People see you how you used to be. Yeah, I said, or how they want you to be. For a second, we were mirrors, both a little lost, both pretending not to be. She reached for my glass to top it off, but her hand hesitated mid-air. Instead of the bottle, she brushed my sleeve, light as a question. The contact was nothing, but my pulse jumped anyway. Sorry, she murmured. It's fine. She didn't move her hand right away, just rested it there, the warmth of her palm against my arm, the faint scent of her perfume, something soft and floral that didn't match the sharpness in her tone. It's not fine, she said finally, almost to herself. You're too young to understand where this sort of thing goes. I wanted to ask what this sort of thing meant, but she pulled her hand back before I could speak. She stood, walked toward the window, arms folded like she needed to hold herself together. Your mother would kill me if she knew you were here this late. Then maybe she doesn't have to know, I said quietly. That made her turn, just slightly, just enough for me to see the edge of a smile she tried to suppress. Careful, she said. You don't know what you're offering. But she didn't tell me to leave. The rain outside softened into a whisper. She came back to the table, sat down again, closer this time. Our knees brushed under the wood, a silent acknowledgement neither of us tried to hide. No words, just the small, electric hum of something neither of us was ready to name. The clock on the wall said it was nearly 11, though the house felt suspended outside time. The rain had stopped. Everything was too still, the kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own breathing. Claire was rinsing glasses at the sink, sleeves rolled up, hair loose now. I caught myself watching the way the light from above slid across her neck, the small curve of her smile when she thought no one was looking. Your mom texted, she said, glancing at her phone. Asked if you made it home yet. I froze. What did you tell her? That you were still here, helping me move some boxes. Her tone was steady, but the air tightened. I walked over to her, tried to read her face, part amused, part afraid, part something else entirely. That's kind of true, I said. Is it? I looked around. No boxes, no excuse, just us and the hum of the refrigerator. She turned off the tap, drying her hands on a dish towel. You should probably reply before she starts worrying. I reached for my phone on the counter beside her. Our hands brushed, not by accident this time. Her fingers lingered a heartbeat too long before she pulled away. I shouldn't have poured that second glass, she said, almost whispering. You didn't force me to drink it. That's not the point. She took a step back, bumping lightly into the counter behind her. I was still close enough to smell the faint citrus from her shampoo, the warmth of her skin. I keep forgetting how young you are, she said. You keep saying that like it's supposed to stop me. She looked up sharply, eyes catching mine, not angry, just startled by the honesty of it. Neither of us moved. The space between us was small, charged. The phone buzzed again. We both flinched. Her daughter's name lit the screen. She grabbed it quickly, glanced at the message. She's on her way to pick something up she left earlier. When? Now. A beat of silence. The moment shattered, replaced by panic, quiet but real. She pushed past me, tidying things that didn't need tidying. You should go out the back door, she said. I'll tell her you left an hour ago. But I didn't move. Claire, she turned, eyes meeting mine again. Her breath hitched. Her hand trembled as she brushed a hair from her face. For a second, she looked tired of pretending. Don't, she said softly, but the word carried no weight. I stepped forward before I could stop myself. She didn't step back this time. My hand found her arm, just a touch. She didn't pull away. Tell me to leave, I said. Her eyes flicked down to my mouth, then back up. I can't. A car door slammed outside. Headlights swept across the window. We froze, too close, hearts thudding in the same rhythm. She pressed her palm against my chest, not to push me away, but to steady herself. Go, she whispered. Please. I slipped out the back, just as the front door opened, her daughter's voice calling her name. From the dark yard, I looked through the kitchen window. Claire was standing exactly where I'd left her, hands still resting against the counter, eyes unfocused. She didn't move until the door shut again. It had been a week since that night. 7 days of pretending nothing had happened, of not checking my phone, of convincing myself it had all been in my head. Then her message came. If you're nearby, could you stop by for a minute? No explanation. Just that. When she opened the door, her expression was unreadable. She looked tired, like someone who hadn't been sleeping right. I shouldn't have texted, she said immediately. But you did. She stepped aside, letting me in. The same kitchen. The same quiet. Except this time, it wasn't raining, and that made it worse somehow. I've been thinking, she said, running a hand through her hair. About that night. About how close we were to, she stopped. I finished it for her. To something we can't take back. Her eyes met mine, sharp, alive. Yes. We stood there, a few feet apart, every word pulling the air tighter. You think I haven't tried to stop? She said finally, voice cracking just slightly. Every time I picture it, I hear her voice, your mother's, laughing in my head. And then I think about you, standing there, and she broke off again, turned away. I moved closer, slowly. You what? She shook her head. You don't understand how this looks. How people would look at me. I don't care what they think. Well, I do. Her voice came out sharper than she meant, but the next breath softened it. You're 21. You'll wake up one day and realize you mistook attention for love. Is that what you think this is? She didn't answer. Her silence said she wished it were true. When she finally looked back at me, her face had changed. Not angry now, but scared. She reached for the counter as if needing something solid. I caught her wrist before she could pull away. Don't run from me again, I said. She didn't. My thumb brushed the inside of her wrist. Her pulse was racing, fast and uneven. She stared at where our skin met, then lifted her free hand, almost without thinking, to my face. I don't know how to stop this, she whispered. Then don't. For a moment, the world narrowed to her breath against my neck, the warmth of her body close to mine, the faint tremor in her fingers as she traced the edge of my jaw. Every second felt stolen, fragile. Her eyes flicked to my mouth. Mine to hers. Tell me this isn't real, I said. She tried to speak, but no sound came. Her hand slid to the back of my neck, holding me there, half pulling, half resisting. Our lips hovered, just barely apart. Then, the doorbell. A sharp, ordinary sound that shattered everything. We froze, breathing uneven. She closed her eyes, whispering against my skin, so close I almost missed the words. Don't answer it. The doorbell rang again, louder this time. Claire's hand dropped from my neck as if it had burned her. She stepped back fast, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, trying to steady her breathing. Stay here, she said, voice barely holding together. I heard her open the door, her tone switching instantly, bright and polite, the practiced voice she used for everyone else. Hey, I didn't think you'd come by tonight. It was her daughter. I froze. Their voices carried through the hall. Claire was stalling, talking too fast, keeping her from coming inside. I caught fragments. You forgot your charger. I was just about to, then footsteps. Getting closer. Claire turned the corner with a tight smile. Her daughter was right behind her, phone in hand, already glancing past her shoulder, toward the kitchen, toward me. I stepped back too late. Her daughter stopped, blinked. Recognition hit her face like a slap. Wait, what are you doing here? My mouth opened, but nothing came out. Claire's hand shot out, touched my arm, firm but shaking slightly. He was helping me with. She searched for words that didn't exist. The shelf in the laundry room. Her daughter frowned. It's 11 at night. Silence. The kind that stretches, thins, and threatens to tear. I felt Claire's grip tighten, then loosen. She looked at me, then at her daughter. That same look people get when they realize there's no way to tell the truth without breaking something. I texted him earlier, she said. I didn't think you'd be coming by. The lie was small, quiet, and it landed heavy. Her daughter's eyes moved between us. The space too close, the wine glasses still out, the charged air that couldn't be disguised. I get it, she said finally. Not angry, but hurt. Her tone cracked at the edges. You really couldn't find anyone else? Claire flinched like she'd been struck. It's not like that, but her daughter was already backing away. You know what? I don't even care. She grabbed her charger from the table, voice shaking. Just don't make it weirder than it already is. The door slammed. The echo hung there long after she'd gone. Claire stayed frozen for a moment, then pressed her hands to her face. I didn't mean for her to see, she whispered. I know. When she looked up, her eyes were glassy, part anger, part shame, part something that looked like relief. She's going to tell your mother, she said. I didn't answer. I just stepped closer, instinctively, like distance made it worse. She didn't move away this time, but every muscle in her body was tense, caught between wanting and dread. This can't go anywhere now, she said. Then why are you still standing here? Her eyes searched mine, and in that quiet she broke. Her hand came up, trembling, brushing against my chest before falling again. Because I don't know how to stop, she whispered. Neither did I. The space between us vanished again. Too close, too dangerous, the kind of nearness that always ends with a choice. Outside, headlights swept across the window and faded. Claire's voice was barely audible. If it's already ruined, we might as well stop pretending. The house was silent again, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the sound of our uneven breathing. Her words still hung in the air. If it's already ruined, we might as well stop pretending. Claire stood near the counter, one hand flat against the cool surface, the other trembling slightly at her side. Her hair had fallen loose again, shadowing her face. I took a step toward her, slow enough that she could stop me if she wanted to. She didn't. You don't have to do this, I said quietly. I know. Her voice was low, breaking. That's what scares me. Another step, and I could feel the warmth from her skin before I touched her. Her breath came shallow. Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came out. I reached up, fingers brushing a strand of hair from her face. My hand lingered near her cheek, the faintest tremor in my fingertips. Her eyes fluttered shut just for a second. You'll regret this, she whispered. Maybe, I said, but not tonight. Her laugh was soft, almost a sob. You shouldn't know how to say things like that. I didn't, until you. The air between us broke. She leaned forward first, or maybe I did. It didn't matter. We didn't meet in a kiss, not yet, just in closeness. Her forehead against mine, the quiet press of her body leaning into me. The world narrowed to shared breath, the small tremor of her hand gripping the fabric of my shirt. Every fear, every reason not to, pulsed beneath the surface like a warning. And yet neither of us moved away. I spent years doing the right thing, she said softly. Staying where I was supposed to, saying no when I wanted to say yes. And for what? I didn't answer. I just wrapped my hand gently around hers, that same hand that had once pulled away from me a dozen times before. Now it stayed. You make me forget how old I am, she said. You make me feel like I'm not, I replied. Something shifted, not a decision, but a surrender. The tension that had been holding everything in place gave way. When she finally kissed me, it wasn't polished or certain. It was hesitant, searching, a collision of everything we hadn't said. A lifetime of restraint meeting one impossible moment of release. The kiss deepened, then softened again. Not a promise, but an understanding. When she pulled back, her eyes were wet, her voice barely a breath. Now you know, she said. I nodded. Yeah, now I do. She smiled then, small, tired, real. I can't promise anything, she said. Not tomorrow, not even the morning after. I'm not asking you to. She exhaled, the fight gone from her body, replaced by something lighter. Not happiness exactly, but peace. For the first time, neither of us reached for words. We just stood there, close enough to feel each other breathe, both knowing that whatever came next, the pretending was finally over. Morning came quietly. Light spilled through the half-open curtains, painting soft lines across the kitchen floor. The air still carried traces of last night. Wine, rain, and something new that didn't have a name yet. Claire sat at the table, hands wrapped around a mug she hadn't touched. Her hair was messy, her sweater slipping off one shoulder. She looked like herself, finally, not the version she showed to the world, but the one she'd been hiding. I leaned against the doorway, watching her without speaking. There was no rush now, no reason to fill the silence. When she finally looked up, Her eyes softened. "You're still here," she said. "Yeah, you didn't tell me to go." A quiet smile. "That's new." I walked over and sat across from her. The space between us felt smaller than it had ever been. Not charged this time, just safe. The storm outside had passed, but a calmer one hummed between us. She reached across the table, fingers brushing mine. No hesitation this time. "Last night," she began, then stopped, shaking her head. "I don't know what to call it." "Maybe don't call it anything," I said. "Maybe just let it be what it is." She looked at me for a long moment, studying my face like she was trying to memorize it. Then she nodded. "You always surprise me," she said. "Is that a good thing?" "Sometimes," she said, smiling faintly. "Sometimes it's terrifying." I reached out and covered her hand fully with mine. Her thumb traced slow circles against my skin, a small rhythm that said more than any confession could. "People will talk," she said. "They already do," I replied. "And your mother? I'll handle her." Claire laughed quietly, that same soft, tired sound that at first pulled me toward her. "You make it sound easy." "It's not," I said. "But maybe it doesn't have to be impossible either." Her expression shifted from fear to relief to something gentler. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against my shoulder. I could feel her exhale against my neck, warm and trembling. "Stay for breakfast," she whispered. "Only if you let me make it." She laughed again, this time genuine. "Deal." The moment lingered, quiet, domestic, impossibly intimate. Two people who had spent too long guarding themselves, now sitting side by side in the soft light, fingers still intertwined. No promises, no grand declarations, just understanding, the kind that doesn't need to be spoken aloud. When she finally lifted her head, she looked straight at me. "Whatever this becomes," she said, "thank you for not running." "I couldn't," I said simply. "You make it hard to leave." She smiled, reached up, and pressed a slow kiss to my forehead, the kind that felt like both an ending and a beginning. Outside, the sky was clear. Inside, the world was quiet again, but nothing about it felt empty. Just real. Just ours. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?